little early, and that bell, it's hard to sink. Spyder's back, and to do what he said he was going to do, like I promised to do, a second special edition for the caretaker, Mr. Bob Young, the owner of Caretaker Ticat, on my CFL Red Zone roll. So I'm going to get right into it. This is the Bible. This is the presentation folder. When I made the formal 1-hour presentation to the commissioner and the CFL in 2018. This is the full presentation here, okay, that I'm going to get right into, okay, for Mr. Bob Young, the caretaker. Alright, here we go. So, I'm not going to do the intro like I did in the first edition, but I'm just going to brief you that I did a survey, okay, for 3.5 years, and the title of that survey was, Why There's So Many NFL Fans in Canada that only watch the NFL and don't even watch their own brand of CFL 3-down football in our own country. Quite a powerful question. And in that survey I gathered very important data and feedback, and I had very consistent legitimate complaints from all. One was the Canadian ratio, which was disliked and for many reasons, and why they wouldn't watch CFL 3-down football, and then in relation to our 3-down game, which what my survey was about, versus the NFL 4-down game, and why they watch the NFL, not the CFL in Canada. I found legitimate, consistent complaints about our 3-down game, that being way too much kicking in the CFL, too many 2-and-outs that don't even exist in the NFL, too many field goals for points in a game in a CFL, and magnified more second down stops in the red zone, resulting in more boring, predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals. That I found from my survey to be the two biggest turnoffs, biggest killers of our CFL 3-down game. So I'm going to get right into the presentation. And by the way, it took me 4.5 years to come up with my final finished product on my Spyder CFL Red Zone roll. Okay, this is the agenda that I sent to the CFL prior to my professional presentation I made on my CFL Red Zone roll, and I used football quarters. Okay, so I'm going to get right now into the finished product and final rules of my second version of opposing CFL Red Zone roll. Here we go. Shoot. CFL teams and offense will have to scrimmage the football on third down every time they are on or inside the opposition 20-yard line in the red zone. Playing exciting CFL 3-down football at its best to score touchdowns in the red zone. CFL teams using the second version of my CFL Red Zone rule would be able to keep the drive going in the red zone to get a first down in the red zone as well, which is no different than the current rules now in the CFL. If a CFL team chooses to play 3-down football in the red zone to score a touchdown, other than now, it would be enforced. It would be an enforcement rule with my second version of opposing CFL Red Zone rule. And with my second version of my CFL Red Zone rule, if a CFL team is stopped on third down in the red zone, maintaining possession of the ball and not forced outside the red zone on third down, then a CFL team still gets rewarded with my CFL Red Zone kick for getting in the red zone and staying in the red zone on third down, but not from where the stop was made on third down in the red zone, because it would be just another boring, predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goal. But instead, a much more challenging, rewarded, instead a much more challenging, rewarded CFL Red Zone kick from the 35-yard line, where CFL team can still come up with 3 points, but not an automatic 3 points, which also complements my second version of my proposed CFL Red Zone rule and adds even more drama and more excitement to my CFL Red Zone rule, and at the same time still preserves our 3-down game, because a CFL team cannot fake it and try to go for a touchdown, because that would be 4-down football. They have to kick my CFL Red Zone kick from the 35-yard line. And if a CFL team with the ball on third down in the red zone is intercepted, then the same current CFL rules would apply, and the same on a fumble and on first or second down if there is a turnover in the red zone. the same optional CFL rules would also apply if the team with the ball is forced outside the red zone on third down, preventing the CFL red zone kick, to where the team on offense would get the ball, for where the team on defense would get the ball on offense either from their own 35 or they opt to receive a punt return. And in overtime, my second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule would fully apply along with my attached CFL red zone kick, and so would the 2-point convert. Now my optional provision part of my second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule that I didn't do in my first special edition for the Caretaker. If a CFL team in the last 10 seconds of the game has the ball in the red zone and stays in the red zone on first, second, and third down using my second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule, they would be able to opt to kick my CFL red zone kick from the 35-yard line for 3 points to win the game or to tie the game and force it into overtime. The CFL could have it apply to the last 10 seconds of the game, the last 10 seconds of both halves of the game, or have it apply to only the last 10 seconds of the game. The optional provision part of my second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule would not apply to the current CFL overtime format because there's no clock. That concludes my rules. Very, very simple in a nutshell. It's very simple to understand. Okay, now I'm going to get into my main objectives and features and benefits and advantages of my second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule, and by my finished product and my rules of my CFL red zone rule. As you see, it's an enforcement rule. They can play CFL 3-down football right now, but the only time they do is in the red zone is on the 1-yard line. They don't on the 5, the 4, the 3, or the 2. They don't. Okay, so that's why my CFL red zone rule is such an incredible, powerful, impactful rule that's going to make our CFL 3-down game a lot better. And here we go. Okay, main objective is to increase offense and touchdowns being scored for majors in the red zone in the CFL, which it will do by astoundingly completely eliminating all the undesirable second down stops in the red zone and replace them with more exciting touchdowns being scored in the red zone in the CFL. Huge, huge feature. And as well, it will remarkably completely eliminate all the boring, predictable, distasteful, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals in the red zone or slightly outside the red zone, depending on where the second down stop was made in the red zone. Another huge, huge selling feature. Would eliminate the two biggest turnoffs, two biggest killers of our CFL 3-down game in the red zone. Number 3, and from a fan's perspective, a second down stop in the red zone is even more disappointing than a 2-and-out because it's magnified, and even a bigger letdown because fans witness another predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goal rather than an exciting touchdown being scored in the red zone in the CFL. And because of only having 3 downs and basically playing 2-down football in the CFL to get a first down to keep drives going, to score a touchdown in the red zone, it's even more discouraging and unrewarding and unsatisfying for the fans and players, because when you see CFL teams consistently, even on the 5-yard line, and the 4, the 3, and even the 2, when stopped in second down in the red zone, refuse to go for it in third down, and instead kick another monotonous, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goal that is almost the same as the former basically automatic single-point convert kick, which will all disappear with my second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule. Number 4, what a huge selling feature. CFL fans will only witness more kicking resulting from 2-and-outs only between the 20-yard lines, which represents 63% of a CFL playing field from the goal lines, and on the most crucial part of a CFL field in the red zone, representing 37% of a CFL playing field from the goal line, second down stops will not exist. Can you believe that? Gone. Number 5, CFL teams will be more competitive and more successful offensively in football fans rather than seeing CFL teams with games with low scoring with the majority of points in field goals. CFL fans and football fans and sports fans in general, and NFL only fans, if you're tuning in with my Spyder CFL red zone rule, which I'm sure you will be because you'll be gravitated to our game then. And want to watch CFL 3-down football, will be able to watch a more exciting brand of CFL 3-down football with more touchdowns being scored and in the red zone. Number 6, another huge selling feature. And because the second version of my proposed CFL red zone rule is such incredible, phenomenal, super exciting new CFL rule, you'll see a lot more explosive big passing plays now that are really lacking in the CFL. Because CFL teams in offense will want to get in the red zone to play exciting CFL 3-down football to score touchdowns, knowing if they are stopped on third down, still maintaining possession of the ball, not forced outside the red zone on third down, they will still get rewarded with my CFL red zone kick. As well, with my second version of my CFL red zone rule, you will see CFL teams now go for it more on third down near the red zone to play exciting CFL 3-down football in the red zone, which will also reduce tune-outs. Isn't that unbelievable? This is fantastic. My second version of my post new CFL red zone rule will also add a lot of excitement and drama to our CFL 3-down game defensively as well. Okay, because it would create an opportunity for a big defensive play on third down to prevent a touchdown from being scored in the red zone, and even a bigger defensive play. If the CFL team on defense forces the team with the ball on offense on third down in the red zone, outside the red zone, preventing the CFL red zone kick. Huge selling feature. Here's an interesting opinion versus fact. In the Eastern Final between the Toronto Argonauts and the Saskatchewan Roughriders in 2017 in Toronto, in the second half, it was reported by TSN that both teams had 10 2-and-outs. Can you imagine that? Which certainly does not sell CFL 3-down football, and is a real turnoff and real killer of our CFL 3-down game that is magnified considerably in the red zone. So true. And here's number 10. You got to really tune into these numbers, this data that I'm going to provide you. They're powerful numbers. The average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams in the 2017 CFL regular season was 54.8%, and a third of the 9 CFL teams were under 50%, and 2/3 of 9 CFL teams were under the average of 54.8%, and 1 CFL team barely above the average of only 56.3%, and only 2 above 60%, 1 at 64.7%, and 1 at 74.9%. And out of a total of 516 attempts in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams during the 2017 regular CFL season, there were 283 touchdowns in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams for an average of 54.8%. But with my second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule, there would be a probable and realistic and consistent and obtainable increase of 20 to 25%, resulting in a 65.8 and a 68.5 of an average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams in a completed regular CFL season. Meaning, on an average of 65.8%, there would be 339 touchdowns scored in the red zone, 56 more touchdowns in the red zone, for a total of 224 more points if all the single converts were successful. And that's the spread between a touchdown and an easy chip shot field goal of 4. Okay? And at a 68.5% of an average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams, there would be 353 touchdowns scored in the red zone, 70 more touchdowns in the red zone, for a total of 280 more points if all single point converts were successful. My second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule will deliver and favorably increase a more respectful average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams. And if you think that's big, I'm going to give you even a bigger number here. This is a guaranteed of 8% if my Spyder CFL red zone rule was wisely adopted by the CFL. Based on the current average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams in the 2017 regular season of 54.8%, if you take 54.8% and multiply it by 33% equals 18%, because CFL teams on offense in the red zone would have an increase of 1 more down if needed, which equals 33%, you get an 18% increase of touchdowns scored in the red zone. Then multiply 54.8% by 18% equals 64.9%, which would guarantee an increase from the current average percentage of 54.8% to an average percentage of 64.9% of an average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams in a regular CFL season. resulting in 50 more touchdowns scored in the red zone for a total of 200 more points. 50 more touchdowns for a total of 200 more points. An 18% guaranteed increase of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams in a regular CFL season. Making a 20 to 25% increase, okay, very probable and obtainable. Can you imagine that? Are those huge, huge zingers? Powerful, huge zingers. Okay, now I'm going to get into my business side and opportunities in marketing and branding of my second version of my proposed new CFL Red Zone rule. My second version of my proposed new CFL Red Zone rule will create new business opportunities and new revenue streams for the CFL, in new branding and in new CFL merchandise sales, and in new CFL Red Zone rule and CFL Red Zone rule kick sponsorship tags. That would be huge for the CFL. Number 2, the CFL will be able to really cash in and capitalize on such an outstanding new CFL rule that puts the spotlight on our 3-down game and on our 3rd down that's associated with probably one of the most important and recognizable terms in football, that being the red zone, which is so notably synonymous with, in the game of football, which the CFL could put a trademark on the new CFL Red Zone rule name. That I would give them, hand it to them. It's theirs. Huge selling feature. Number 3, the CFL could highlight and display and put a spotlight on my second version by proposing CFL Red Zone rule by outlining the white 20-yard line in red on the CFL field and by highlighting the number 20 in red in both red zones, just like the monitor in front. Okay, huge. It'd be huge. Man, would that look good on the CFL field. Number 4, the CFL and their marketing and branding team could really jazz up the new CFL Red Zone rule and CFL Red Zone rule kick new brands and logos to look sensational and stunning. That would really grab you and draw you in to buy new CFL Red Zone rule merchandise. Huge selling feature. As well, TSN and HD could jazz up their coverage by using and displaying striking, eye-catching CFL Red Zone rule graphics on the 20-yard line in the red zone. TSN also in HD could display an eye-catching CFL Red Zone rule kick graphic on their coverage as well, both with sponsorship tags attached to generate more revenue for the CFL, which the CFL needs desperately. More revenue for all the teams. Number 6, and what the second version of opposing CFL Red Zone rule would do for a new CFL video game would be unbelievable and super exciting, because it would make a CFL 3-down video game so much more innovative and so much more exciting to play, and with incredible, outstanding graphics that also would make a CFL video game more attractive to buy, which would again generate a lot more sales for the CFL. Generate a lot of money for the CFL. Number 6, and what the second version of opposing CFL Red Zone rule would do. Okay, I did number 6. Number 7, sorry, and nobody's perfect. And the excitement and drama of my second version of opposing CFL Red Zone rule would create at a CFL game live in the red zone and on HD TV on TSN would be spectacular and super exciting for CFL fans. And for all sports fans, and all the younger generation sports fans in Canada, and the NFL only fans that the CFL desperately needs, that we now watching our CFL brand of 3-down football because of Spyder CFL Red Zone rule, and around the sports world. Huge selling feature. Bottom line, most importantly from the business side, and what it will do for our CFL 3-down game. The second version of my proposed new CFL Red Zone rule will substantially increase the CFL fan base and instantly attract the younger generation of sports fans and gravitate all the NFL only fans in Canada to our CFL 3-down game, who the CFL needs as CFL fans. And it will significantly increase attendance throughout the CFL and in major CFL markets, and considerably increase the CFL's viewership audience and noticeably increase season ticket sales throughout the CFL and generate a lot more revenue for the CFL and their owners. Huge. Can you imagine that? Owners, are you listening? Okay? Number 6, because if adopted by the CFL, the second version of my proposed new CFL Red Zone rule will become the biggest and most innovative and the most dramatic and most entertaining and most exciting and most powerful and most significant new CFL rule in CFL history and in all of professional football. Huge selling features. Huge zinger. closing selling points here. My second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule is the exact and perfect injection our CFL 3-down game needs. That presents itself loud and clear every CFL game. That's literally staring the CFL right in the eye, just waiting to be adopted by the CFL, and that's true because my second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule does it all, and is perfectly suited and naturally tailor-made for CFL 3-down football. And when you have someone as prominent in sports as Steve Armitage, who has done 27 Grey Cups, who I last surveyed, fascinated by my CFL red zone rule, and has given it his stamp of approval, you know you have something big. And then have Steve Armitage tell you that the CFL has to recognize and acknowledge that they are competing in a highly competitive sports world today and must realize that they are selling entertainment and excitement, which Steve Armitage says is exactly what my second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule does, and said it would unquestionably make our CFL 3-down game a lot more entertaining and a lot more exciting and a lot more attractive brand of CFL 3-down football to watch and be part of. And that's coming from Mr. Sir Steve Armitage, who's an icon and very prominent in sports, and has done the 27 Grey Cups and the Olympics. Number 11. And by the overwhelmingly response from the hundreds of people I surveyed who were all captivated by it and sold on it big time, truly indicates how valuable my second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule really is, which is equally important for the CFL to acknowledge and as well to recognize its incredible enriching upside and recognize the importance of making it part of our CFL 3-down game. And you can be reassured when it's professionally presented and fully exposed to all CFL fans and to the younger generation sports fans and all the NFL only fans in Canada and to all the CFL players, that they too will be blown away and really sold on it, because it's the only new CFL rule that can possibly do what it can do. Huge selling feature, huge zinger. Number 12, the main goal and the main objective in the game of football is crossing the goal line when a football team has a ball for a touchdown, because football fans go to football games to see touchdowns scored, not repetitive second down stops in the red zone, resulting in more predictable, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals that no football fan wants to see, especially in a 3-down football game. Just like hockey fans go to hockey games to see lots of exciting goals scored, not 0-0 ties or 1-1 ties, and that's exactly what football fans will see with my second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule, more exciting touchdowns being scored. Huge selling feature. Number 13, it will also be beneficial for the development of minor league and high school football in Canada, and you will now see minor league and high school football programs in Canada all playing CFL 3-down football and wearing CFL team colored jerseys, not playing American 4-down football in our country, and wearing NFL jerseys, which will really promote our brand of CFL 3-down football in Canada if my Spyder CFL red zone rule is adopted. Okay? Number 14, here we go. And there are way too many compelling key features and benefits and too many strong, convincing, justifiable advantages from both the entertainment and business side of my business side of our CFL 3-down game to prove why it should be made part of our CFL 3-down game than any disadvantages. Way too many compelling and justified advantages of my CFL red zone rule versus any disadvantages. Why it should be adopted. Huge zinger. Okay, number 15, the CFL needs not only survive, it needs to strive. And that's precisely what my second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule will do for our CFL 3-down game, and make it soar and roar throughout CFL stadiums and take our 3-down game to a whole new level. And if my second version of my proposed new CFL red zone rule is adopted by the CFL, it would create a tremendous amount of excitement and buzz around CFL 3-down football like never before. It would be phenomenal and the biggest thing that ever happened to our CFL 3-down game. And what a huge selling feature to sell CFL 3-down football. And what a story for the CFL to tell and sell. The CFL, you want to do something big? Well, this would be doing something big. Well, this would be not only big, it would be a blockbuster. Can you imagine the promo and the launch the CFL could do, and the incredible headlines like the new bold CFL, featuring the biggest and most innovative and most entertaining and most exciting new CFL role in CFL history and in all professional football. that's full of drama, introducing a new, super exciting, naturally tailored name for CFL 3-down football, CFL Red Zone Rule, complemented by the new compatible CFL Red Zone kick. Come and be part of it. And I can guarantee you the NFL won't know what to do, and the NFL will be definitely scrambling and spinning, because our third down will be more impactful and more powerful and have more focus on it and be a more valuable and more important down and be a much more exciting down than their fourth down. Can you believe that? Isn't that super? Super duper. What a zinger. What a zinger feature. I'm just thinking, I'm going to go back to my main objectives and features because I think I forgot to. And what's so, it may be a good close here, and what's so phenomenal about my second version, my proposing CFL Red Zone Rule, is it cannot be stolen by the NFL, because it simply and unequivocally would not work with 4-down football, but will work naturally and perfectly with 3-down football, like it was meant for and tailor-made for CFL 3-down football. And it would solely belong to the CFL and not the NFL. And at the same time, it will still remarkably preserve a CFL 3-down game. My second version, my proposing CFL Red Zone Rule, will really put a real signature on our 3-down game and really put real emphasis on our third down and give our third down real prominence and a real purpose and meaning. And that's exactly what it will do. And it will eliminate the two biggest killers of our CFL 3-down game. Okay? That being too many boring, distasteful second down football stops in the red zone, resulting in the second turnoff and second biggest killer of our CFL down game, resulting in too many boring, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals in the red zone. And with my CFL Red Zone Rule, completely gone. So that's it. That's it for my presentation.